Have you ever walked through the produce section, filled your cart with colorful fruit, and thought, "At least I know this is healthy"? What if I told you that some of the most popular fruits in America might not be the best choice for your heart? At least not in the amounts or forms most people eat them. Now, don't get me wrong. Fruit is one of the healthiest food groups you can eat. But here's the catch: not all fruits affect your body the same way. Some are packed with nutrients that actively support healthy blood vessels, lower inflammation, and help manage cholesterol. Others can become surprisingly problematic when they're eaten in excess, processed into juice, or loaded with added sugar. And here's why this matters. Heart disease remains the #1 cause of death in the United States. Every year, hundreds of thousands of families lose loved ones to heart attacks, strokes, and other cardiovascular diseases. The scary part: many of these conditions develop silently over decades. You don't wake up one morning with clogged arteries. It's a gradual process shaped by thousands of small choices: what you eat, how active you are, how well you sleep, and yes, even the fruits you reach for every day. Today's video isn't about fear. It's about making smarter choices with foods you already enjoy. We'll reveal the 5 fruits that deserve a permanent place in your diet if you're serious about protecting your heart. Then, later in the video, we'll cover 7 fruits that you may want to enjoy a little more carefully. Not because they're bad, but because there are important details that most people never hear. And trust me, one fruit near the end has fooled millions of people into thinking it's healthier than it really is. So let's start with one of nature's greatest gifts for your cardiovascular system. Why fruit plays such an important role in heart health. When most people think about protecting their heart, they immediately focus on what they should stop eating. Less fried food, less processed meat, less sugar, less salt. Those are all important. But heart health isn't only about removing unhealthy foods. It's also about adding foods that actively support your cardiovascular system. Think about everything your heart does. It beats around 100,000 times every single day without asking for a break. It pumps blood through roughly 60,000 miles of blood vessels, delivering oxygen and nutrients to every organ in your body. To keep doing that job efficiently, your heart depends on healthy arteries, balanced blood pressure, controlled inflammation, and stable cholesterol levels. That's where fruit comes in. Whole fruits provide fiber, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and thousands of natural plant compounds that scientists are still studying today. Fiber helps remove excess LDL cholesterol from your body. Potassium supports healthy blood pressure. Vitamin C protects cells from damage. Antioxidants help reduce oxidative stress, one of the factors involved in artery damage over time. But here's something many people don't realize. Not every fruit contains these nutrients in the same amounts. Some fruits are nutritional superstars for heart health. Others are still healthy, but require more attention to portion size because they're naturally higher in sugar or are commonly consumed in less healthy forms. Understanding the difference is what this video is all about. So let's begin with one of the most researched fruits for cardiovascular health. Best fruit for heart health: 5 blueberries. Blueberries may be tiny, but they deliver an incredible amount of nutrition in every handful. In fact, many nutrition experts consider blueberries one of the healthiest fruits on the planet. What makes them so special? It starts with their deep blue color. That rich color comes from powerful antioxidants called anthocyanins. These natural compounds help protect your body's cells from oxidative stress, a process that slowly damages blood vessels over time. Imagine leaving a metal bicycle outside in the rain for years. Eventually, rust begins to appear. Something similar happens inside your body as you age. Inflammation, pollution, smoking, poor diet, and even normal metabolism create unstable molecules called free radicals. If too many build up, they can damage artery walls and contribute to plaque formation. Antioxidants help neutralize those free radicals before they cause as much damage. Blueberries also contain fiber, vitamin C, vitamin K, and manganese, all while being relatively low in calories. Research has suggested that people who regularly eat berries may experience improvements in blood vessel function and healthy blood pressure over time as part of an overall balanced diet. One of the best things about blueberries is how versatile they are. You can add them to oatmeal in the morning, mix them into plain Greek yogurt, blend them into a smoothie with spinach, and unsweetened almond milk, or simply enjoy a handful as a snack. And don't worry if fresh blueberries aren't in season. Frozen blueberries are often picked at peak ripeness and frozen quickly, helping preserve many of their nutrients. That's good news because they're usually more affordable and available year-round. But here's an important reminder. Blueberry muffins, blueberry pastries, blueberry syrups. Those aren't the same thing. Many of these foods contain far more added sugar, refined flour, and saturated fat than actual blueberries. The health benefits come from the fruit itself, not the dessert inspired by it. And speaking of colorful fruits packed with antioxidants, the next one has been prized for thousands of years and continues to impress modern researchers. Its tiny ruby red seeds may hold more heart, supporting compounds than you ever imagined. If blueberries are one of nature's greatest antioxidant powerhouses, the next fruit is often called a jewel of the Mediterranean, and for good reason. At first glance, it may seem like just another sweet fruit, but hidden inside its bright red seeds are compounds that researchers have spent years studying for their potential effects on heart health. Let's take a closer look. Best fruit for heart health. A2A. Pomegranates. Cut open a pomegranate, and you'll immediately notice something unique. Instead of soft flesh like an apple or banana, it's filled with hundreds of tiny ruby red seeds called arils. Each one is packed with juice, flavor, and nutrients. For centuries, pomegranates have been associated with vitality and longevity. Today, modern nutrition research is discovering why they earned that reputation. One of the biggest reasons is their exceptionally high concentration of polyphenols. Polyphenols are natural plant compounds that act as antioxidants. They help protect your body's cells from oxidative stress and may support healthy blood vessel function. Think of your arteries like the inside of a brand new garden hose. When they're smooth and flexible, blood flows easily. Over time, poor diet, smoking, chronic stress, and aging can damage that inner lining. When this happens, blood vessels become less flexible, making it harder for your heart to do its job efficiently. Some studies suggest that the antioxidants in pomegranates may help support the health of this delicate inner lining, known as the endothelium. While no fruit can magically reverse years of unhealthy habits, adding antioxidant-rich foods to an overall healthy lifestyle may help your cardiovascular system perform at its best. Pomegranates are also a good source of vitamin C, potassium, and fiber, especially when you eat the seeds rather than drinking only the juice. Speaking of juice, here's something worth paying attention to. Many bottled pomegranate juices found in grocery stores contain added sugars. Some are blends that include apple or grape juice concentrate to make them sweeter. If you enjoy pomegranate juice, choose one that lists only 100% pomegranate juice on the ingredient label. Better yet, enjoy the whole seeds whenever possible. Not only do you get the fiber, but eating them naturally slows you down, giving your brain more time to recognize fullness. It's a simple example of how whole foods often outperform processed versions. And while pomegranates may not be the easiest fruit to prepare, many grocery stores now sell the seeds already removed, making it much easier to enjoy them throughout the week. Now let's move to a fruit that's probably already sitting in your kitchen. It's affordable, convenient, and backed by decades of research. Best fruit for heart health. 3 apples. There's an old saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. While no single food can guarantee perfect health, apples have certainly earned their place among the healthiest everyday fruits. One medium apple contains fiber, vitamin C, water, and a variety of beneficial plant compounds. But one nutrient stands out more than the rest: pectin. Pectin is a type of soluble fiber that plays an important role in heart health. Here's how it works. As food moves through your digestive system, soluble fiber forms a gel-like substance that can bind to some cholesterol before it's absorbed into your bloodstream. Over time, this may help support healthy LDL cholesterol levels when combined with an overall heart-friendly diet. That's one reason healthcare professionals often encourage people to increase their fiber intake. Most Americans don't eat nearly enough fiber, and apples make reaching that goal surprisingly easy. Another benefit: apples are incredibly filling. Because they're high in both fiber and water, they help satisfy hunger without providing excessive calories. That can be especially helpful for people trying to maintain a healthy weight, which is one of the strongest lifestyle factors for protecting heart health. Whenever possible, eat the apple with the skin on. Many of the antioxidants and beneficial plant compounds are concentrated just beneath the peel. Just be sure to wash it thoroughly before eating. One thing people often ask is whether green apples are healthier than red apples. The truth is that all apples provide valuable nutrition. Granny Smith apples tend to be a bit more tart and slightly lower in sugar. Honeycrisp apples are sweeter and incredibly juicy. Fuji Gala, Pink Lady, and Cosmic Crisp all have slightly different nutritional profiles, but the differences are relatively small. The best apple is the one you'll actually enjoy eating regularly. Here's a simple snack idea. Slice an apple and pair it with a tablespoon of natural peanut butter or a handful of unsalted almonds. The combination of fiber, healthy fats, and a little protein helps keep you satisfied much longer than eating the apple alone. Small combinations like this make healthy eating feel enjoyable rather than restrictive. And speaking of potassium, rich fruits that keep you energized. The next one has been unfairly criticized in recent years. Some people avoid it because they think it's too high in sugar. But when you look at the complete nutritional picture, you may see it very differently. Best fruit for heart health and food. Bananas. Bananas are one of the most popular fruits in America. They're inexpensive, portable, naturally packaged, and ready to eat whenever you are. But despite all these advantages, bananas have become surprisingly controversial online. Some people avoid them because they're worried about carbohydrates. Others believe they're one of the healthiest foods you can eat. So what's the truth? Like most nutrition topics, the answer lies somewhere in the middle. Bananas are an excellent source of potassium, a mineral that plays a critical role in maintaining healthy blood pressure. Many Americans consume far too much sodium from processed foods and not enough potassium from whole foods. This imbalance can place extra strain on the cardiovascular system. Potassium helps counteract some of sodium's effects by supporting proper fluid balance and healthy blood vessel function. Bananas also provide vitamin B6, vitamin C, magnesium, and dietary fiber. Another interesting feature is that bananas change as they ripen. A slightly green banana contains more resistant starch, which behaves somewhat like fiber and feeds beneficial gut bacteria. As the banana ripens, some of that resistant starch converts into natural sugars, making the fruit sweeter and easier to digest. Neither stage is necessarily better. It simply depends on your preferences and nutritional needs. Athletes often eat bananas before workouts because they provide easily digestible carbohydrates for energy. They're also a convenient recovery snack after exercise. However, just like every fruit we've discussed so far, preparation matters. A plain banana is very different from banana cream pie, or banana bread loaded with sugar and butter, or a milkshake made with ice cream and flavored syrups. The fruit itself isn't the problem. It's often what gets added to it. And that brings us to our final, best fruit, before we transition into the fruits that deserve a little more caution. This next fruit doesn't look like most fruits. In fact, many people don't even realize it's technically a fruit at all. Yet it contains one of the healthiest types of fat you can eat, and that healthy fat could make it one of the most friendly foods in your kitchen. If I asked you to name a fruit, chances are you'd say an apple, an orange, or maybe a banana. Very few people would immediately think of an avocado. Yet botanically, that's exactly what it is, a fruit. And unlike almost every other fruit in the grocery store, the avocado has a nutritional profile that's completely different from the rest. That's exactly why it has earned such a strong reputation among cardiologists and nutrition experts. Best fruit for heart health when FIVI. Avocados. Most fruits are naturally rich in carbohydrates. Avocados, however, are naturally rich in healthy fats. That difference makes them unique. Instead of being loaded with natural sugars, avocados are packed with monounsaturated fats, the same heart-friendly fats found in foods like olives and extra virgin olive oil. Why does that matter? Because when monounsaturated fats replace foods high in saturated fats, they may help improve cholesterol balance. Specifically, they can help support healthy LDL cholesterol levels while maintaining or improving HDL cholesterol, often called the good cholesterol. Think about two different breakfasts. Breakfast number 1 is a butter-covered biscuit with processed sausage. Breakfast number 2 is whole, grain toast topped with mashed avocado, sliced tomatoes, and a sprinkle of black pepper. Both meals provide calories. but they nourish your cardiovascular system very differently. The second meal delivers healthy fats, fiber, vitamins, and minerals that support long-term heart health. Avocados are also incredibly rich in fiber. In fact, a single avocado contains more fiber than many people eat in an entire day. Fiber helps you feel full, supports healthy digestion, and may contribute to better cholesterol management. Another surprising benefit: potassium. Most people automatically associate potassium with bananas. But ounce for ounce, avocados actually provide even more potassium than many bananas. That combination of potassium, healthy fats, and fiber makes avocados one of the most satisfying foods you can eat. When people feel satisfied after meals, they're often less likely to snack on highly processed foods later in the day. Of course, moderation still matters. Because avocados contain healthy fats, they're also higher in calories than most fruits. For many people, about 1/4 to 1/2 of an avocado is an appropriate serving, depending on the rest of the meal. Now we've covered 5 of the very best fruits for supporting heart health. But here's where today's conversation becomes even more interesting. Just because a fruit is healthy doesn't mean unlimited amounts are always the best choice. Some fruits become less beneficial because of portion size, others because they're commonly processed, and a few because they're surprisingly easy to overeat. Let's begin with one that almost everyone has sitting in their refrigerator. Fruit to limit A1. Grapes. This often surprises people. Grapes are absolutely nutritious. They're rich in antioxidants, including resveratrol, along with vitamin K and vitamin C. So why are they on this list? Because they're incredibly easy to overeat. Think about eating an apple. Once you've finished one apple, you're usually done. It feels like a complete snack. Now compare that with grapes. You grab one, then another, then another. Because they're small, it's easy to eat 2 or 3 cups without even realizing it. That can add up to a surprisingly large amount of natural sugar and calories in just a few minutes. Remember, natural sugar isn't the same as added sugar. Whole grapes still provide fiber, water, vitamins, and antioxidants. But if you're trying to manage diabetes, insulin resistance, elevated triglycerides, or body weight, portion awareness becomes important. The same principle applies to raisins. Raisins are simply dried grapes. When water is removed, the sugars become much more concentrated. A small handful of raisins may contain the equivalent sugar of several bunches of grapes. That doesn't make raisins unhealthy. It simply means they're more concentrated than fresh fruit. A simple strategy. Instead of eating directly from the bag, place one serving into a bowl. That small habit creates a natural stopping point. Now let's move to another tropical favorite that's often called the king of fruits. It's delicious, packed with nutrients, and completely fine for most people. But there are a few important things worth knowing. Fruit to limit I2 mangoes. If you've ever tasted a perfectly ripe mango, you know why it's one of the most beloved fruits in the world. It's naturally creamy, sweet, juicy, and bursting with flavor. Mangoes are rich in vitamin A, vitamin C, folate, and beta-carotene, all of which support overall health. So why should they be eaten a little more carefully? The answer comes down to portion size. A large mango contains significantly more natural sugar than many other fruits. For healthy, active individuals, this usually isn't a concern when it's eaten as part of a balanced diet. But many people don't stop at one serving. Even more importantly, mangoes are frequently blended into oversized smoothies with bananas, fruit juice, flavored yogurt, honey, and sometimes even ice cream. What started as healthy fruit can quickly become a drink containing hundreds of calories and an enormous amount of sugar. A better option is to enjoy half a mango alongside plain Greek yogurt or a handful of nuts. The added protein and healthy fats help create a more balanced snack while keeping you full much longer. And speaking of tropical fruits, the next one has a reputation for being incredibly healthy, but only if you choose the right version. Fresh is one thing, canned is another, and that difference matters far more than most people realize. We've reached the final part of today's journey. So far, we've explored 5 of the best fruits for heart health and uncovered 5 fruits that deserve a little more attention when it comes to portion size and preparation. Now it's time to finish the list with 2 fruits that often spark debate among health experts and social media influencers alike. The truth, as you'll see, is far less dramatic than many headlines would have you believe. Let's dive in. Fruit to limit 560 watermelon. Few fruits are more refreshing than a cold slice of watermelon on a hot summer day. It's sweet, juicy, and made up of more than 90% water, making it one of the most hydrating fruits you can eat. Watermelon is also a good source of vitamin C, vitamin A, and an antioxidant called lycopene. Lycopene is the same natural compound that gives tomatoes their bright red color, and researchers have studied it for years because of its potential role in supporting cardiovascular health by helping reduce oxidative stress. So why does watermelon appear on a list of fruits to enjoy in moderation? The answer comes down to one word: portion size. Watermelon has a relatively high glycemic index, which often scares people. But here's what many articles fail to explain. The glycemic index measures how quickly a food can raise blood sugar, not how much carbohydrate is actually in a typical serving. Because watermelon contains so much water, a normal serving doesn't provide an excessive amount of sugar. The problem begins when people eat half a watermelon in one sitting. Think about a family barbecue. A large watermelon is sliced into wedges. You grab one piece, then another. Because it's light and refreshing, it doesn't feel like you're eating very much. Before long, you've consumed several servings without realizing it. For most healthy adults, 1 or 2 cups of fresh watermelon can absolutely fit into a healthy eating pattern. If you're living with diabetes or trying to manage your blood sugar, consider pairing watermelon with a handful of unsalted almonds or walnuts. The healthy fats and protein help create a more balanced snack and may slow digestion. So don't fear watermelon. Just respect the serving size. Now let's move to the final fruit on today's list. A fruit that has become one of the most talked about foods in the nutrition world. Fruit to limit 5-7 coconut. Walk through any grocery store today, and you'll notice coconut everywhere. Coconut water, coconut milk, coconut yogurt, coconut flakes, coconut oil. It's become one of the biggest stars in the health food industry. But here's something many people don't realize. These products are very different from one another. Fresh coconut meat contains fiber, manganese, copper, and several important minerals. However, unlike most fruits, coconut is naturally high in saturated fat. Now, saturated fat isn't automatically the villain it's sometimes made out to be. Nutrition science has become much more nuanced over the years. But according to major heart health organizations, replacing a portion of saturated fat with healthier unsaturated fats, like those found in avocados, nuts, seeds, and olive oil, can help support healthy cholesterol levels for many people. That's why coconut deserves moderation rather than unlimited consumption. For example, adding a tablespoon of unsweetened coconut flakes to your oatmeal. Perfectly reasonable. Using a little coconut milk in a homemade curry. Also perfectly fine. But consuming several tablespoons of coconut oil every day because someone online called it a miracle food isn't supported by the strongest scientific evidence. Remember, heart health isn't built around one magical ingredient. It's built around consistent eating patterns. The biggest myth about fruit. Now let's clear up one of the biggest misconceptions on the internet. You've probably heard 2 completely opposite opinions. One group says, fruit is full of sugar, avoid it. Another group says, fruit is healthy, so you can eat unlimited amounts. Neither statement tells the whole story. The truth is much more balanced. Whole fruit contains natural sugars, but those sugars come packaged with fiber, water, vitamins, minerals, and thousands of beneficial plant compounds. That's completely different from refined sugar found in candy, soda, pastries, and many processed snacks. Think about it this way. Imagine eating an orange. You have to peel it. You chew each slice. The fiber slows digestion. The water fills you up. Now imagine drinking a large sugary beverage. The sugar enters your system much faster, and you finish it in minutes. Your body responds differently. That's why whole fruit remains one of the most consistently recommended foods in healthy eating patterns around the world. The goal isn't to eliminate fruit. The goal is to eat a wide variety of whole fruits while paying attention to portion size and limiting heavily processed fruit products. 5 daily habits that can protect your heart. Knowing which fruits to choose is important. But building healthy habits is what truly creates lasting change. Here are 5 simple habits that can make a real difference over time. Habit 5: choose whole fruit more often than juice, whenever possible. Eat fruit instead of drinking it. Whole fruit provides fiber that juice simply can't match. Habit V2 I eat a rainbow. Different colors often mean different nutrients. Try to include a variety of fruits throughout the week. Blueberries, strawberries, oranges, kiwi, apples, pomegranates, blackberries, pears. The more colorful your plate, the wider the range of beneficial antioxidants and plant compounds you're likely getting. Habit 1-3. Pair fruit with protein. Instead of eating fruit by itself every time, combine it with foods like plain Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, unsalted almonds, walnuts, pistachios. This combination keeps you feeling satisfied longer and supports steadier energy throughout the day. Habit 4. Read labels carefully. Don't assume every fruit product is healthy. Watch for added sugar, corn syrup, artificial sweeteners, heavy syrup, large serving sizes, fresh, frozen without added sugar, or fruit packed in water are usually your best options. Habit 5. Make fruit part of an overall healthy lifestyle. Even the healthiest fruit can't cancel out an unhealthy lifestyle. Protecting your heart means combining smart nutrition with regular physical activity, quality sleep, stress management, staying hydrated, avoiding smoking, limiting excessive alcohol, keeping blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar under control, regular checkups with your healthcare provider. These habits work together like pieces of a puzzle. No single piece completes the picture on its own. Your heart is listening to every choice. Think about your heart for a moment. It's been beating every second since before you were born. It has never asked for a vacation. It never takes a day off. Right now, as you're watching this video, it's pumping blood to your brain, your muscles, your lungs, and every other organ that keeps you alive. Most of us don't think about our hearts until something goes wrong. But heart disease doesn't appear overnight. It develops gradually through years of small daily decisions. The encouraging news is that those same small decisions can work in your favor. Choosing blueberries instead of a sugary dessert. Adding an apple to your lunch instead of a bag of chips. Swapping fruit juice for whole fruit. Eating more colorful produce throughout the week. These choices may seem small today, but over months and years, they can become part of a lifestyle that supports a stronger, healthier heart. Remember, you don't need a perfect diet. You don't need expensive supplements. And you certainly don't need to fear fruit. Focus on balance. Focus on consistency. And remember that every healthy meal is another investment in your future. Quick recap: best fruits for heart health: blueberries, pomegranates, apples, bananas, avocados. Fruits to enjoy in moderation: grapes, mangoes, pineapple, dried fruit, fruit juice, watermelon, coconut. The key message isn't to avoid these foods. It's to understand them. When you know how different fruits affect your body, and how preparation and portion size matter, you can make smarter choices without giving up the foods you love. Call to action. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel reach more people who want to take better care of their health. If you're passionate about learning simple, science-based ways to protect your heart, improve your nutrition, and live a longer, healthier life, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. And now we'd love to hear from you. Which fruit do you eat most often, and did any of today's information surprise you? Share your answer in the comments below. Your experience could inspire or help someone else who's working toward better heart health. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, and most importantly, take good care of your heart.